you at, just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibe is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat, just relax.
Alrighty, y'all. It's 9:16 a.m. It's the 3rd of 9th of March, I'm sorry, 2025. And we at it again. Hope everybody is doing well. People are surviving. Yo, I've been talking to a lot of people as usual, obviously, because, these times require it. And, from what I'm hearing, folks are getting organized in the US. They are pushing back. People are fed up, and I mean angry. Once again, it's not as angry as things can be because we're talking about the United States now. A lot of people do not agree with this. Europeans don't have a proliferation of guns everywhere. I mean, most European societies don't even have a need for it. People are happy to go to school. People are happy to have universal health care. People are happy to have access to education. People are happy to have access to housing. Not that there's not issues, and not that the issues don't vary across the EU. Every EU state is not exactly the same because obviously that goes against how agreements are made, but people are moving in a direction largely in the EU, just like Canada has chose a different path than the United States. They have weapons, but it's more of a rural hunting thing, a thing for animals, wild animals, not human beings. Canadians aren't known for solving their problems um, with guns. You know what I mean? It's usually dialogue and self-respect, and they try to. I'm not talking about the anomalies that exist everywhere. I'm not talking about gangs, drug gangs or cartels. That's a global phenomenon, that we can't blame those things on the basics in society, the basic fundamentals. And it just turns out that the United States has a fundamental of a proliferation of weapons, and that's under the Second Amendment, which, by the way, I agree with the Second Amendment. I mean, but as we know, that gets used often for the wrong things. It gets used often towards things that attacking people for differences of religion or race or things like that. Now, it's very interesting times because, hey, y'all, this is a time where, lo and behold, it could very well be that the Second Amendment was meant for this dynamic with Trump specifically. When people try to take over your government and have no respect for your Constitution and have no respect for just the norms of your society. Look, the US hasn't had um, fair and equal access to education. Hey, that's been a story throughout our history. That's what the civil rights movement was about. Women didn't always have the right to vote. That's what movements are about. Um, there's a lot of different dynamics, but things have changed and things are moving towards a direction of sensibility. And here we go. We got somebody all of a sudden represented by rich folk that don't give a goddamn about anybody's suffering, only gives a damn about what money can be thrown into their pockets. And we have the most, they say, most powerful man, richest man on earth, Elon Musk, who's down with the program. He's probably, Putin could be off paper the richest man on earth because he's been in power in Russia for 30 years. And we know Russians, the average Russian don't have a damn penny, you know, to be honest with you. Live with very little, are expected to live with very little for the mother country, Russia. They're expected, that's how indoctrinated they are into that authoritarian regime. They don't really have voting rights. And they even laugh at it. Ha 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 ha. See, we tampered the election again. Ha 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 ha. They laugh. Putin laughs at that. And It just so happens that other people are happy with moving along until he becomes an existential threat to them. And that's what we have here. So we have a debacle. We have a serious debacle going on. But let me switch over uh, so we can take a look at what is going on in Michigan for a second, because Bernie Sanders had a rally. Let's take a look.
Senator Bernie Sanders drawing a large crowd in Warren tonight, criticizing what he calls the influence of billionaire donors in politics. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Pamela Osborne. Let's get right out to our Jacqueline Francis. Jacqueline, we got a lot of calls into our newsroom about this rally. What's the energy like out there?
Pam, everything wrapped up here about 20 minutes ago. You can still see they are breaking down. We're told there were 9,000 people out here today at Lincoln High School in Warren, not just in this gym, but there were multiple overflows.
But why did they just stop? Why didn't they just show the damn rally? You notice how they didn't really show the rally? Yo, media, let the world know what's going on. Let everybody in Canada know what's going on. Let people know in the EU what's going on. Let people know in Russia what's going on. Let people know in the Middle East what's going on, in Iran. Let people know in South America what's going on. Media.
Rooms as well. So yeah, those calls made sense because when we arrived, there was a line just wrapping around the school. Now, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, his message was very clear. He said that the Trump administration is leading this country towards oligarchy. He told the crowd that the country is being taken over by billionaires and large corporations, and he's calling on the supporters to take a stand against this. This was the second leg of Sanders' tour, and it's titled Fighting Oligarchy, Where We Go From Here. And the tour is not just in random cities. He is hitting districts that were narrowly won by Republicans in 2024, like in this district, which was won by U.S. Representative John James. During Sanders' remarks, he asked the crowd to put pressure on the Republican lawmakers, telling them not to make big government cuts on things like Medicare and education. Here's a little listen of what he had to say.
We're here today to, in fact, make sure that after so many people in our country have fought and died for democracy, that we are going to stay government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I want to tell you what we are up against, because you got to know what this struggle is about, and I think you all do. And I want you to think back just 6 or so weeks ago when Donald Trump was inaugurated. Now, think about who the people were. Now, I had a box seat. For whatever reason, I got pushed to the front of that. So I was like 3 feet away. And right behind Trump, sitting behind him, were the 3 wealthiest people in America. Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. That's not all. Behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies.
Before Sanders took the mic, UAW President Shawn Fain introduced him. He gave a speech of his own, and it's pretty typical for us to see Shawn Fain at any sort of political rally like this with Democratic politicians. We saw him a lot in the campaign season in 2024, and then again here today. Reporting live from Lincoln High School in Warren, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Yeah, you know, and see, this is what's interesting, because for some reason, when you look here, you know, I can see that either this is the algorithms being tampered with. Somebody doesn't want things like that to be shown across, you know. I don't know why that is, but you know, is it Elon Musk tampering with it?
Oakland mail carriers from their routes, but some neighbors say the rampant graffiti is not just an eyesore, it's a safety hazard.
A reflection of crime.
Let me see here. What is this? Postal trucks? I mean, stand up for science rallies. Here we go. I don't even care about graffiti right now, y'all. I mean, but I'm thinking more about what's going on in the U.S. and these rallies that are going on. I would like to know, but this is one in Oakland, in the Oakland area. Apparently, it's about science. So
Since taking office, the Trump administration has laid off thousands of federal employees at science agencies, including NOAA, the CDC, NASA, and the National Institutes of Health. Meantime, California is joining 20 other states in suing the Trump administration over the mass firings of several of federal employees. Attorney General Rob Bonta says, "We don't know just how many Californians were affected because the Trump administration did not follow proper procedures."
yep.
The Trump administration proceeded with the terminations while ignoring critical protections that ensure workers and impacted communities receive advance notice of mass layoffs to soften the disruptions they cause and ensure that personnel such as military veterans are given preference in retaining their jobs.
A coalition of attorneys general is asking to halt more mass firings and reinstate everyone who was unlawfully terminated. A CBS News poll last week also found that Americans were almost evenly split on support for DOJ's federal cuts and job cuts, but there's a massive gulf between the Democrats and Republicans. You can see the cuts have overwhelming approval from the GOP at 87%, while 86% of Democrats disapprove.
Now I don't believe this data. I don't believe the data anymore. Not now. It turns out that the election, that there is overwhelming evidence at this point that the election was rigged and that Kamala Harris actually won the election. If the voting machines had not been tampered with, if there had not also been voter suppression in different ways across various states, swing states, So when I'm hearing this kind of data back about the GOP, I don't believe it. Why does it always sound like the GOP, the people are always extremely in favor of? How can that be when you see people across the country in GOP and states where Trump won that are angry? Like, how could that be? You see everywhere Republicans saying, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. And yet the data, if you ask them, the data is still spiking high for approval ratings for Republicans. That doesn't make any damn sense.
Meet the man fighting to bring one of San Francisco's native sons back home. The latest on a...
All right, let's see here. Let me go a little bit further into this. What is this? Oh, there's supposed to be a hurricane also hitting the U.S.
How are you not
Okay, the
spending
West
your hard?
Coast? Yes. All right. Well, in any case, there's... Yeah. I don't know what to show. But let's see here. Let's see some more data. Let's see if the data is really adding up, like they say.
Your friendly reminder to set your clocks an hour ahead tonight as daylight saving time begins. Of course, the idea has been around for centuries, mentioned back in 1784 by Benjamin.
Let's get out of here. We don't need daylight saving times anymore. Let's get straight to the news.
Including Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, but it was not widely adopted until much of Europe started using it during World War I. The U.S. standardized the system in 1966 when Congress passed the Uniform Time Act. But the time change has plenty of critics, including Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, who vowed to get rid of it back in December, calling it inconvenient and costly to our nation. CNN's chief data analyst.
Well, we know where this is going because they seem to be experts. Elon Musk and Trump, they seem to be experts without science, without anything. No one else really chimes in. This is not a matter of Congress. Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Doge and most of the, 99% of the things that are going on right now in the U.S. have nothing to do with congressional hearings, sadly. And congressional hearings are actually the people's right to have regarding their own lives, since we have elections and things like that. And you can kind of see where they're going. They're using all of these executive orders to distract people from what their real goal is. They're going to flood the executive orders so people have to keep up with it, every little thing, and won't be able to decipher which ones to focus on versus the ones that they should not focus on. The whole time firing and challenging the system. They are challenging your constitutional rights. They're challenging the Bill of Rights. They're challenging the 14th Amendment. They're challenging the Constitution every step of the way. And the Constitution is the one thing that makes you different from Russia. You want to live life like it is in Russia? Is that what you want? Do you know what life like is in Russia? Do you have any idea what it's like? Extreme poverty. People do not even really show up to elections because they know that it's, there's an oligarchy running it. And the US has a choice. Americans have a choice right now. You are actually de facto deciding whether you want to be an oligarchy or you want to have a voice in your government. That's what's going on right now in the US. And because the US is such a powerful country, that is a danger. Just the idea that Americans aren't really sure becomes a danger to everyone else's way of life, including their own. Including their own.
Harry Enton joins us now. This is a divisive one, Harry. People have feelings about
Screw
this.
the daylight savings time. Let's just get on to forget this. You see what I'm saying? Why do they even have this? Why is this a story? Those who oppose daylight, man, get out of here. Just I really don't understand this. They actually have this kind of data, y'all. Obviously, this is what they want the conversation to be. This is what they want the conversation
as President Trump
to be.
walks back tariffs.
Obviously. All right. So let's see. Trump walked back some tariffs. Why did Trump walk back tariffs? Because tomorrow is Monday, and Canada said they're going to cut the electricity off on, I believe, 4 major states in the United States. Let's hear
Tariffs on most products from Mexico and Canada. Again, Canada says retaliatory tariffs will stay in place until that pause is permanent. CNN's John King went to visit our northern neighbors as part of his All Over the Map series to hear what the Canadians think about the president and his tariffs.
So the Canadians suckered Trump. Trump thought he was going to sucker the Canadians and thinks he's going to do the same thing over again, threaten them, and then say, oh, we're going to pause it. And the Canadians are saying, hey, man, screw that pause. Our sanctions, our tariffs are going to be on you until you get rid of those tariffs, period. So with this up and down thing with the stock market, you not being sure about what you want to do, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the Americans who support that, guess what you're going to have to live with? You are now going to have to live with the Canadian tariffs until you permanently make up your mind.
Is American steel in Western Canada for custom finishes. One belt is to burn a few notches and drill a few holes. Another to weld some angled braces. Soon back on a rail car and back across the border for an office project in Alaska. It is a partnership that supports 100 jobs here at AI Industries in Surrey, British Columbia. This just one piece of nearly $800 billion a year in trade between the United States and Canada. Now, though, a partnership in peril because of President Trump's insistence on new tariffs.
He wants to show that U.S. is strong, and because I'm bigger than you are, I can bully you around, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Trump paused the tariffs Thursday, just 2 days after imposing them. Another about face. Yes, Walgie prefers no tariffs, but he says weeks of threats and contradictions from Trump make it impossible to plan and are already hurting both economies.
You see, so, and think about this. How abusive is that? How abusive is that? Why does Trump want to pull it back? You know, and this is a interesting question here. Why does he want to pause tariffs? If these are his tariffs, obviously he thought about the outcome first, right? But it's letting you know that not only is it that, I mean, it could be that he didn't think about the outcome, but I don't believe it's that. He literally just wanted to punk some people and it didn't work. That's all it is. It's nothing about caring for people. He is scared. He expected people to go along with it. And if people went along with it, he would win. But obviously, why would you go along with cutting off your own foot? Why would you do that? But there are people that are in abusive relationships, that are used to abuse, that go along with abusive behavior set by their abuser. There are people like that. People like that are called slaves. People like that are being being trafficked by others. Things like this. I mean, really, that's literally what he's in a seductive way inviting people to be slaves. And Canadians are saying, we're not going to be slaves to you, dude. In fact, we're not going to be slaves to this indecisive behavior that you have. We're not going to go through this up and down relationship, toxic relationship with you when we don't have to have a relationship with you at all. We can cut you off, and we can cut your electricity off if you don't start voting for people that care about you and care about their neighbors. That's what Canada is doing. And Donald Trump actually just said, okay, ooh, and he ran back. And now they're pretending like they didn't run back. They're pretending like this is normal. Congress, the Republican Congress, is pretending like he's not getting his ass whooped all over the place. The Republican Congress is acting like they are not the laughing stock of the earth. Yes, you are. You had the privilege of being a member of Congress, of the most powerful country on earth, and look what you did with it. Ha 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 ha. You did something that anyone else on earth could see was damaging to yourselves because of your arrogance. The Republican arrogance in the United States of America is on, it's just out of this world. They can fail, but they feel like they are supremacists. So they feel like somehow they can just get out of it if they fool themselves. No, you can't. Just like slavery came to an end in the United States of America, this will come to an end also.
With the threat of tariffs, prices have gone through the roof and have gone higher. So we're seeing right now, when we're bidding a job today versus we're bidding it 3 months ago, our cost has gone up almost 15%.
British Columbia is a living postcard, scenic mountains and gorgeous waters. The importance of trade is everywhere you look. Canadian lumber waiting at river's edge, rail cars to carry Canadian crude oil, crops, and more. The bustling Pacific Rim port of Vancouver.
You'll watch it for 8 hours. You'll see on average, we've got 10 ships arriving and 10 ships leaving. We did about 160 million tons of cargo last year. 75% of that is those bulk commodities, grain, coal, potash, sulfur, and other agricultural products outbound.
Peter Exotta is the port CEO. He says shippers who normally plan 6 or 9 months out are now taking things a few weeks at a time because Trump is so unpredictable. And he says Trump's threats and his tone leave Canada no choice but to find new markets, new partners.
It's been a wake-up call, right?
You see that? Canada produces a lot. And you see, who else can pick up the toll for them? Who's the easiest to work with? Who can just solve by, let's say, because you're not dealing with the US anymore, you got to find 10 partners to pick up the slack that the Americans were buying, the products that the Americans are buying from the Canadian products. Now you got to find 10 other people to pick up that slack because now you don't have the US market. But guess who can pick it all up?
So unpredictable.
Look at this.
And he says Trump's threats and his tone leave Canada no choice but to find new markets.
Guess who can pick it all up? China. China can pick it all up. And here's the thing. Here's the trick, American people. This is how you know Trump is lying to you, dumbass Republicans, and everybody else, obviously. But it's you dumbass Republican MAGA people that believe him like slaves. Trump will go out there and try to act like he's against China. he tried to use that racial element. By the way, it's okay for him to be friends with Putin because Putin's not Chinese, he's not Asian, so that's okay. He tries to spin this racial divide, right, which is retarded. Obviously people have figured that out, or should have figured that out if you've been on Earth long enough, if you're a good enough student of history, right? But he likes that talk. He likes to talk strong against China because he feels like the fascists don't give a damn about that. But look, fascists come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors too, by the way. They don't always have to be white supremacists, right? Now, but the truth of the matter is that he's helping China. He's helping China more than anyone else. Trump had the magic key to open up China to the world. And that is exactly what he's done. He's not competing against China. He's helping China.
New partners.
It's been a wake-up call, right? It's been a wake-up call for Canadians that we need to figure out a way to not be as dependent.
This rift goes beyond what Canadians see as Trump's bad math. They are furious at his bad manners, his constant insults, calling Canada the 51st state and its prime minister governor.
We've been in this together for a long time. We fought wars together. We went to Afghanistan. We did all this stuff together. Why? What are you doing here?
If you don't know how to make chords, this is it.
Can drag one.
That is real talk. Yeah. How did we get here? What's this about, Trump?
Darrell Lam is the brand manager, state, and its prime minister governor.
We've been in this together for a long time. We fought wars together. We went to Afghanistan. We did all this stuff together. Why? What are you doing here?
Darrell Lam is the brand manager at Legacy Liquors. Yes, this too is a front in the new trade war.
Look, y'all. Let me just go here. Yes. Tilroy. Look at this. This is just so sad. If anybody has stock in Tilroy, right? Let me see here. Tilroy stocks. They function on both sides of the border of the U.S., right? And they sell alcohol, tobacco, and weed-based products, right? 5 days, 1 month, 1 year. You see this? This is a result of Trump's trade. You see this? Look, January, you would think if he had some decent you would think if he had some decent policies, it would be on its way back up, right? But it's not. It's going down even further. You see? Look at this. You see this? This was the election date, and it was here. So it's at the halfway mark around here, 1.5, right? You see that, right? 1.55. It's at the halfway mark, right? So it was already under pressure, prime for someone like Trump to do something positive about Tilroy. Tilroy operates on both sides. This is an American pharmaceutical cannabis lifestyle company, but they sell other stuff too, right? And look at what's going on. You see? What did he just do? He just killed that market. And it's not just that market. It's almost every other market that shares operational space or has something that operates on both sides of the border. If you're an American company and you operate in Canadian, you need something that's inside of the US, or you need something inside of Canada. If you're doing business in both and that's your base, you're having problems right now because of Trump, whether you're American or whether you're Canadian. I mean, it's really, really sad.
There's yellow rose right there from Texas, right there.
So, is it popular?
It is.
And if this goes into effect, you can't sell this.
That'll be off the shelf.
It's gone.
Tito's Vodka too, also from Texas.
Diagram of a trade war.
The premier of British Columbia says if Trump imposes tariffs, he will ban sales of alcohol from states that Trump won that also have a Republican governor.
We've gone through this before with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We were asked to remove all Russian products from our shelves.
Lamb says some customers rushed to stockpile American favorites, but others want all American products off the shelves.
So mad at Trump for what he's saying about Canada that they're saying, get it out of here.
No, 100%. Absolutely. I'm just worried about this eternal relationship that we've had for 200 plus years being soured for 4.
All right, let me go back to this. So people have an idea of what Tilroy is. I mean, you see this? Tilroy has diversified its business through alcohol, but is the stock better, a better buy than it was 5 years ago? You see, so Tilroy is alcohol. You see, Tilroy brands, and during that stretch, its valuation has crumbled, failing by a staggering 94%. So listen, y'all. Canada-based company has been eager to enter the U.S. Market, right? Tilroy operates on both sides. Tilroy brands, you see, so they are integrated in the United States. It's American, that a company that's integrated so much with Canada, and this is now just failing. It's now just falling off of the market, and it's not totally off because they have such a large share. It's not totally off. It's still functioning. They've had to make operational cutbacks. You know what that means? It means they have to produce less and they have to do firing. But they don't just have to produce less, y'all. They don't have to produce yet less. Guess who they can turn to buy their stuff? China or other places in the world, Europe. I mean, this is what they will do. This is what will ultimately happen, but they've had to have cutbacks. What does the cutbacks do? It means people aren't employed. What does people not being employed do? It means there's less taxpayers. What does that mean? Is that good for the economy? Absolutely not, because these are business people that invested loads in business thinking that it would grow and build on the economy, provide more jobs, Canadian and American jobs. And what did they do instead? What has Trump done? He hasn't even mentioned it yet. He hasn't even talked about it yet. I mean, now look at this. For the first time, in the U.S., look at this. Look at this. Nvidia Corporation. This is a U.S. corporation. Microsoft, Amazon, Asus computer chips. Look, we had just invested in infrastructure so these companies could continue to thrive, so they could take on the new competitors, the new challengers coming out of the East, coming out of China, right? And what did Trump do? Trump came into power and did the exact opposite, ripped it all from underneath their feet. This is what he has done. How the hell is Nvidia down to 112? I mean, it's going to survive, but it's not down to 112 just because of the challengers, just because of some new AI chat that you can use. That's not why. It's down because of Trump. Can people see this? Okay, yeah, okay. Just making sure here. Just making sure folks can see this. Look at this. October, you see? November 8th. You see where it was? November 8th? You see this? 147. Look at it. Started to get hit because Trump started opening his mouth. Look, following up on the things he's saying, Now it's down to 112. Was up to 147 though. It was there. So let's say you're a young person investing in stock. What did that do to your stock? Let's say you were an older person looking to sell your stock, to retire. What did that do to your stock? 6 months. What did that do to your stock? You see? How much of a percentage drop is that? That is really, really, really that's scary actually. So that means you can't retire now. That means you can't just hop out of there and do what you wanted. That means somebody just stole from you. And that person is Trump. And why do you think they would go after the tech market like that with Elon Musk right next to him? It's because the richest man in the world wants to steal it all. But is that possible? Is it legal for him to do that? Even if he had all that power, is it legal? Even if he had all the money to finance all the projects, is it legal? Doesn't it have to go through Congress? Right? They're not even risking it to take it through Congress. You see, they're not even risking to do that. As one of my listeners pointed out, Andrea, she pointed out Trump is doing the pump and dump. You know, make the market fall, buy into it, then change his policy so it could raise up again. Then he sells his stuff and then he changes his policy again. He's robbing people. He's robbing people. This is what they've been doing in the crypto market. They pump it up, get a bunch of people excited about it, invest in it, and then they pull their money out of it again. They're basically fleecing people. This is stealing money from the average American, y'all. That's what they're doing. Remember the word slavery. Remember that. Remember when I've been saying before a civil war, their plan is to bleed your pockets, to bleed your grocery stores, to bring in recession, have you watch recession come in so you won't have enough resources to fight them back for whatever is coming next. And I hate to say it that way. God forbid there's a civil war in the US, but this must be their plan. I'm just telling you, this must be their plan because the fact that Trump is coupled with Putin, you have to understand the first target have to be the American people because no one else is going for this. Canada is not going for it. The EU is not going for it. Now, anybody else can trade with whoever else they want to. They don't have a problem with that, right? But the thing is that when there's no open, free, and fair competition, they're not going to get the best out of the deal anyway. That's the problem. When it's free, open trade, everyone gets to decide themselves, and they don't always decide based on the dollar. Sometimes they decide based on cultural differences. Who do they want to do business with? Do you want to do business with authoritarian regimes that oppress their people? Right? Because sooner or later it's going to come around to you. If you allow them to make too much money, they're going to come and repress you also. So you see how this works? Yeah. So that's obviously a flat out lie. That this is the lie of the week. It is the market. He is pumping and dumping stock. That is exactly what he's doing. It's called insider trading from the White House. That is what he is doing. The only difference is that he is only telling his friends what he's about to do. So he's telling his friends in advance. They're all preparing themselves, and then they pull all out. Trump they pull their money out and they leave the other investors to rot. You see, with losses, that's what he's doing. And listen to him very carefully when he says this. Look at how he says it. This is just so shameful. He's got them lying because look at his face. People can read his face now. Watch this. You see him look down? Watch him look down now. That's a telltale sign when he lies. You see? That's how you know Trump is lying. Of course, he's going to say, no, 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 nothing to do with that. But that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Follow the money trail, y'all. Oh, he's not even looking at the market, y'all. Why would he not look at the market? Does that make any sense? Since when has a president not looked at the market? The market is your bloodline. That's your economy. But how does he know? How does he know that? He's not even looking at the market because in the long term, right? What does that mean? It means dump the stock so you can buy in before you fix the stock if you're going to fix it. While you, at the same time, sit there and hold people for ransom regarding policy and trade issues. Hey, do you want me to release these tariffs? Well, what do I get out of it? Ford, Chevrolet, Amazon. What do I get out of this? I see your market, your stocks dropping, but hey, you want me to change this policy? What do I get out of it? So he gets to buy in after he's dumped the stock, after he's made it just fall down. He gets to buy in, and then he gets another cherry on top. He gets to blackmail the companies and say, hey, what do I get out of this before I let your stock grow again, before I release these tariffs? This is what he is doing from the White House. The man is insider trading. That's all it's about. He is fleecing America. That's what he's doing. He is trying to make himself a king, and he's doing it with the blood, sweat, and tears. Every American that loses his job, he's doing that so he can be the king. Every American gets thrown out of their house, he's doing that so he can be a king. Every American that loses their investments, he's doing that so he and his family can be kings of America. And when I say kings of America, I mean it's over. There won't be no voting, no real voting at all again. I mean, he wants to own the $27 trillion government with its military. That's what he wants. He wants to own the military, own Earth. And if people don't stand up against this, you will be his property too. He will be your slave master. And the first people that have the most to worry about are the American citizens. We had wars about slavery. We had wars about women's rights. By whose metric? By whose metric? Where are the metrics? They've never made that argument to Congress. Notice how he said you have to wait and see. You have to wait and see. So you deserve the anxiety of waiting and seeing American people, you will bear the brunt of the anxiety because no one else is waiting to see. Nobody. You heard Canada say, hey, we're going to keep our tariffs up. We're moving forward with our tariffs. They're the ones doing reciprocal tariffs. It's not Trump. He initiated the tariffs. It's everyone else doing reciprocal tariffs. You know, they're telling Trump and the American people that voted for him, you are not going to hold us hostage. We are not your slave, Trump. The American people can be your slave, Trump, if they want to be slaves, but we are not. That's what they're saying. You know, it's going to be a hard month for American people. Sure. People, the people that have the investor class, the people that have a little bit of money to invest in the stocks, you know what I'm talking about. We know, we see our stocks decline. That don't mean we selling them. That doesn't mean we selling them. Nah, we gonna hold on. We gonna hold on to our stocks. But what it means is that the people that have the most money, which you don't, the average listener, the average American doesn't have money invested in the stock market. You know, the millionaire class and up, they're just, when they see the stock declining, they're in a position to buy a little bit more without suffering and being able to gamble, just in the hopes that some new leadership comes one day, and then when the stock rises up, because the new leadership is supposed to be pro-American industry, not just pro-American industry, but pro-American economy, meaning we have someone to sell our shit to, which we don't right now because of Trump. The stocks will rise one day when there's a new leader. Yes, y'all, hear me and hear me clear. When we have a new leader, the projection of the United States GDP, let's see here, USA, look at this, USA GDP. And I haven't even looked, because we will know next year really how well it's doing, you know, once the numbers come in. It's going to take a little bit of time for the numbers to come in. But this is what they estimate the US GDP to be now. So if you look into this, you will see that the US has had, what is this, since 2020, right? Hold on, let me see something. This is 2023, so this don't count. US GDP 2025. Let's see here. Right. Now, if you did not have any, is this 2020? Let's see here. If we didn't have any interference in the market, right? If we didn't have any interference in the market, you will see, look at this. Biden came into office and fixed whatever Trump was up to, his little problems. You see, he kept climbing. He kept climbing. You see that? Now Trump is in office. Now the GDP is strong because it takes a little bit of time for it to experience or to reflect the political decisions. But when it does, it's huge. But let me see something here. Let me go back. Can I open this statistic up a little bit more? The chart, the zoom. Okay. Selecting a range in the chart you want to zoom in. Okay. Is this 20? No, we want to zoom in here. We want to zoom in here. Let's zoom in here. Can we zoom in there? Where's the zoom at? Why can't I zoom? It says select zoomable. Oh, is it that? What is that? For some reason, I can't zoom in on that. I don't know why that is. Well, let me go back. Let me go back a little bit. Can I choose this one? Get out of there. Okay. This might work. Except this is not showing where the current GDP is. You know, it takes time, y'all. It takes time. This is the current year. All right. Well, the US GDP is projected to go down, by the way, and that is going to hurt people greatly with Trump. Look at this. Are we going into a recession? Are we suddenly close to a recession? I mean, This is Forbes. Are we suddenly close to a recession? Here's what the data actually shows. As President Donald Trump as his trade war ate into consumer confidence last month and ruffled financial markets, talk of recession is re-entering Americans' lexicon. But though the odds of an economic slowdown are higher, the evidence does not suggest recession is imminent. Right, but they're not saying that it's not coming. They're saying it just doesn't suggest that it's imminent, meaning absolute, meaning he can still do something to stop what he's doing. And so can you, American people. You can do something to stop Trump being the person who's creating this possible recession. Perhaps the most significant data point signaling a possible recession is the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta widely tracked GDP now model, which forecasts U.S. economic output will contract, meaning go down, by the annual rate of 2.4 in 2025's first quarter, based on it. That means the first 4 months, 3 months. That's where we at right now. First 3 months, right? So let's see. First quarter based on a series of economic data points. That would be the worst economic growth since the second quarter of 2020 at the height of COVID. You see? But where's the COVID right now? He's going to say, well, it's the bird flu. Yeah. And set the stage for the widely accepted technical definition of recession. It's funny because within that recession, they don't talk about the lives that will be harmed, the lives that will be lost, the people thrown on the street. So guess what? Recession sounds like a sexy word. No, 2.4 sounds like a sexy word. It's just 2.4 decline. Well, how many lives do you think are affected by that? How many people will go into poverty because of that? How many families will be thrown out on the street because of that? So don't forget, 2.4 in the United States of America, that reflects a whole lot of families. The National Bureau of Economic Research more broadly defines it as a significant decline in economic activity. Economic activity. That means making money. There's a decline in that. That means people out there making money in all markets pretty much are being hit by this. Activity that spreads across the economy, all sectors. Look, if people can't make money, how are they going to pay your rent if you own a home and that's how you make your money? See, Trump can survive a recession. Jeff Bezos can survive a recession. Elon Musk can survive a recession. What about the guy who just became a millionaire and owns some homes and wants to rent them out? Can he survive a recession? Or will he sell some of that property for less? See, we're not all the same. We don't all have to be exactly the same. We want people to work for their money. So some will work harder than others, or some have better ideas than others. That's free and open, fair trade. But there's got to be limits to this. Several other concerning signals have flashed regarding the health of the American economy. As consumer sentiment tumbled to a 15-month low, layoff announcements shot up 4 to 5 year high, and the stock market tanked, with the benchmark S&P 500 index falling 6% from its all-time high set February 19th at the implementation of the tariffs. So Biden's economic plan put the U.S. at the stock market at an all-time high, the S&P. But now we have Trump's tariffs intersect as the implementation of tariffs rocked Wall Street. And it rocked some people's lives. Don't know if you know any of those people's lives, but it didn't rock my life, but it damn sure is eating into the stock. It's damn sure eating into the stock. And most people are thinking about ways they can save money now. Models tracking and profitability of the U.S. recession have simultaneously shifted to indicate a higher probability of economic pullback recession. Goldman Sachs economists up their odds of recession over the next 12 months. Right. So this year, it's now looking like there's a 15 to 20% chance of a recession. That's higher. So, in other words, every week with Trump in office, the odds of a recession are even higher, naming Trump's economic policies as the key risk. While Yardeni research raised their recession odds Wednesday from 20 to 35%, citing Trump's 2.0 second time in office head-spinning barrage of executive orders, firings, and tariffs. Yes. Crucial quote. The top-ranking economic officials in Trump's administration, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, indicated the economy could take a hit Friday. Yeah. We know. Telling CNBC, could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited is starting to roll a bit? Sure. Yeah, sure. Sure is not a big word. Sure doesn't send people into chaos. Sure it is. Sure. Because the rich people are just like, yeah, sure. Because they're like, sure. Because if you get thrown out on the street because of it, it doesn't bother them really. Could we be seeing that this economy that we inherit is starting to roll back a bit? Sure. We become addicted to the government spending. Bullshit. And there's going to be a detox period. Bullshit. It's not called detox. It's called a betrayal. Government spending is taxpayer dollars. How are you addicted to your own dollars? You see the manipulation here? You can't be addicted to. Why do you pay tax? Why do you pay federal tax at all if that's the case? If the Fed is going to do this, it's the Fed. They are the swamp. They're the ones sitting there screwing over the taxpayer dollars. It's taxpayer dollars. It's not government spending. You pay taxes for them to spend the money on you. That's what this is about. And they're trying to say, hey, we don't need to be spending no money on y'all. We don't need to be a support system for your state governments, regulations and rules and laws and way of life. No, we don't want to do that. So sure, it's going to be a little bit of setback. Right. Big number, 0.8 percentage points. That's the peak negative hit to GDP from tariffs priced into Goldman baseline economic model. The bank's economics led by Manuel Ebekesis, I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, wrote Friday, Goldman lowered its end of 2025 GDP growth rate from 2.2 to 1.7 and its end of 2026 GDP growth rate from 2.2 to 2 to account for tariffs. I think it's going to be, no one really knows, but you can see this is not good news. Contra, rising recession odds and the prospects of sharply negative economic growth sound like the sky is falling, but there's ample evidence to suggest the U.S. is not necessarily on the doorstep of a downfall. All right, this is the counter argument. As recently as the summer of 2023, Goldman Sachs recession model signaled a more than 30% chance of recession just before the U.S. ripped off 7 consecutive quarters of more than 1.5 GDP growth. Right. But you got to understand, where is the growth happening? Is the growth happening in a way to where the chain of money is going through a wide amount of people's hands, meaning jobs, people with jobs? Is the average American feeling the upside of that 1.5? Or is it completely void of the African Americans, touching it, contact with it? This is the problem with these 1.5 models. It's like they're talking about the elite only getting that. That means someone else outside of the USA is benefiting from that, or the elite in the USA is benefiting from that, not the average American citizen. Growth in the stock market surged even as the monetary policy remained restrictive. You see, there's also evidence of the GDP now model may be skewed negatively as gold it attributes much of the Atlanta Fed's model downward shift to its accounting of gold imports amid okay, great. So there could be a counter argument. We get that. But the counter argument ain't that great. Chief critic, U.S. policies appear to be tilting towards a less business friendly stance. JP Morgan, I mean, should we say more? Because if it's less business friendly, then you got the picture, right? JP Morgan Chase economics Bruce Kessman and Joseph Lupton remarked on Friday, note, the trade war heated up more than we expected and is concentrated in North America. Well, it will likely generate large spillovers to U.S. growth, they explained. Yeah, North America is Canada, Mexico. Key background, in the United States, there have been 11 recessions over the last 75 years, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. The last two recessions in the late 2000s, Great Recession, and the 2020 COVID recession were the longest and shortest drawdowns of that span, respectively. Okay, so the 2000s was longer than the 2020. Okay, Bissett leads a growth chorus of Trump allies attributing any weak economy data to Biden administration. Exactly, it's got to be Biden. It's got to be Biden. But when Biden said, "Hey, I inherited a COVID recession," the same people said, "No, you didn't. Your job is you, the president. You're supposed to do something about it right now." So they flip flop on that. But in any case, you get the picture and you tell me, how does it feel? How does it feel? Remember, they said, what's the price of eggs? What's the price of gas when Biden was in the office? Are you better off? What's the price it is? What's the price of that? Right? They said that when Biden was in office and Trump was running for presidency, right? So we ask you the question now. What's the price of eggs, y'all? MAGA folk. Ralph, are you out there, Ralph? Hey, Ralph, I'm calling you, Ralph. Hey, also not just Ralph. not just Ralph. The rest of you, too. The rest of you, any of you, I got love for some of y'all, more hate for some of y'all, but some of y'all I can understand your arguments because maybe right now you have changed your minds, right? Maybe you found out it's not really good for your pockets, Trump. Remember, you all thought that Trump was going to be good for your pockets? I don't know. Because look, when the billionaires start saying, hey, this ain't good for our pockets, when Ford is like, this ain't good for my pockets, when, hey, you tell me, is it still good for your pockets? How the price of eggs? We're going to ask that same question next month and the month after that, because then we're going to really, really know how much you really like Trump or hate him. Yeah, and he said this was the best. Trump was like, this is the best ever, man. It replaced that horrible trade deal we had before with, who the hell did this? And then he created the best one. And guess what? Now he's reneging on it. He's going back and saying that one was the worst. Who did that? He forgot he's the one who signed it. All right. See here. Yeah. That's what that is looking like. It's not looking too good for people. So let's see. I mean, you know, the Communist Party is the biggest, strongest party, the ruling party of China, without any doubt whatsoever. Putin, I don't even know if you could call Putin's party a party. He just straight up 100% run by one man and some rich folk, period. I mean, the Chinese, they care a little bit more about their people than Putin does, that he cares about his own. I'll give them that. But when you make them, you really have to be low. You got to be bad to make China look reasonable, to make Putin look reasonable. But I'm not dissing the Chinese. I'm not trying to um, unilaterally, judge the Chinese, right? Because at one time, the U.S. actually, China was getting attacked by the Japanese, in World War II, and the U.S. came to China's defense on that measure. So I would hope that the Chinese military and government remember those days, and I hope you understand that Trump will be gone. Elon Musk will be gone one day. So whatever it is you have in mind, remember something else is also coming, because in a democratic society, leadership changes when they're not doing right. Just remember that. So let's hear what the Chinese have to say. Absolutely. And Absolutely. And, what we see from Elon Musk is, and the reaction people are having, just to remind people, this just happened not too long ago. I mean, and this has been going on since Trump, the president, has been elected. Look at this. And leading up, since he got kicked, since Elon Musk has been kicked out of Europe, right? This has been going on the entire time across Europe. I mean, Elon Musk and anybody associated with him is finished. They are finished in Western democracies. We know that. The only Western democracy left that hasn't made their mind up is Trump. Trump's Western democracy, still called the United States of America, but pretty soon to be renamed to Trump's States of America. Pretty soon. This has already been happening. And yet, the person that has been kicked out of every Western country showed up and found his way into the United States White House. Just look at this. Sorry about that, y'all. I just wanted to confirm Oregon to see if they voted for Harris or what. That's NPR is NPR. What is NPR? That's National Press Radio or something? National Public Radio. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what NPR is. That's interesting. All right. So yeah, so let me see here. Let's go back a bit. Now that was Oregon, but let me see. There are protests in other areas across the country. And let me just see here. There was a women's march. And by the way, happy International Women's Day to the ladies. That was yesterday. I didn't have a chance to go live, and actually it slipped my mind because I spoke with a couple of women yesterday over the phone, and I didn't even say Happy Women's Day, to be honest, and I'm sorry about that. But let's go back. Oh, they want me to subscribe to that. Now let me see here to this to be able to read the article. But let's see here. Um, There have been recent demonstrations and expressions of anger towards President Donald Trump across the United States. Here are some notable events. Women's March protest March 8th, 2025. On the 8th of March, that was yesterday, 500 protesters gathered in San Francisco. I mean, I don't know if that's just an estimation. Square at Union Square as part of a women's march coinciding with International Women's Day. This event was one of the more than 300 similar protests nationwide aiming to combat actions by President Trump's administration, which participants perceive as harmful to women's freedoms. Protesters voiced opposition to various issues, including climate change, policies, anti-abortion measures following the overturn of Roe versus Wade, and other perceived threats to democracy. Then there was the 5501 movement protest that was in February. The movement standing for 50 protests, 50 states, one day organized nationwide protests, February 5th and February 17th. Thousands participated, gathering in front of the state capitol buildings and city halls to protest policies and actions of President Trump's second administration. The movement has rapidly spread on social media with hashtags like Build the Resistance, promoting participation across platforms. The Doge job cut protest have also gone on. Now, let me see. That would be on March 7th. That was 2 days ago. Significant layoffs occurred at the Treasury Department Bureau of Fiscal Services in Parkersburg, West Virginia, as part of Trump administration's cost-cutting measures. Like, we need to cut costs when we already had the highest GDP of all time under Biden. It's ridiculous. Led by Elon Musk, Department of Government Efficiency, Doggy, over 125 employees lost their jobs, leading to community protests, especially since the region heavily supported Trump. Yeah, that region heavily supported Trump. Well, y'all, next time you had 4 years already to know what Trump was up to. You couldn't figure out Trump was no good. At least that's what a lot of my listeners are saying. And I agree. You had 4 years to find that out and you still voted for Trump. It's like, come on, what's wrong, people? Get it together. Would you, I mean, is that what you're doing? I feel sorry for some of y'all marriages if that's the case. If you get trouble for 4 years like that and you stayed married to abuse, anyway, yeah, mental abuse or physical abuse, Trump is going to bring it to you. Economic abuse, you're going to experience all of it. And you said, okay, George Floyd wasn't really bad. You know, all this other shit wasn't bad. You voted for him again, and now he's going to steal everything from you. Okay, he's going to steal your lifestyle, steal your country, steal everything you fought for, break your constitution, destroy it, and then he's going to rename the country the land of Trump and Elon Musk, and you were okay with that. All right. In any case, yeah, over 125 employees lost their job, leading to community protests, especially since the region heavily supported Trump in previous elections. Many residents now question their support for the administration due to negative impact on local economy. You don't say, huh? Wow. Wow. It finally got around to you, something you could feel and you cared about your economy, but nothing else mattered. Nobody else's economy that you heard, nobody else talking about women's rights. You didn't care about that. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, protest against Project 2025 in February. Protests erupted against Project 2025 and policy initiatives of President Trump's administration. Demonstrations occurred in various cities, with participants expressing concerns over the project's implications on immigration and other social issues. Okay. And then there was, let's see here, how many of these things. Let me see if I can get to one of these real quick. 2 seconds, y'all. To the Midas touch. 2 seconds. Let me see here. Yeah, because the Midas touch has been on it lately. Let me see what they got there. I'm sure they're going to show more of the protest, actually. And there's more news about the there's more news about the effects. Here, let's see here. Let me get this up here, y'all. What? What is he? Look, Charlie Kirk, the Daily Call. Shut up about egg prices. Trump is eggs. What's the egg price, y'all? What's the egg price? What's the egg price? What's the egg price? What's the egg price? That's exactly what you should be saying anytime a Republican representative comes and gives you an excuse. Say, what's the egg prices? What's the egg prices? What's the egg prices? What's the egg prices? And then knock them upside the head. By the way, big up to the Midas Touch. They are the number one news network across the country, across the United States of America. They took over Fox. This is just YouTube news, and they got more viewers and watch time hours than than CNN, than Fox, than legacy media. Y'all, if you want some quality news, daily, constantly, updates, just repeatedly, go to the Midas Touch Network. They're not the only ones. There's also Occupy Democrats. Big up to Occupy Democrats, but there's others too. But I just want to let you know, Midas Touch, congratulations for the hard work and thanks for fighting back for Americans, all Americans, not just Democrats, Republicans too, also independents, but everyday people that made this country great. Okay, thank you. This is amazing. They literally told people to buy a chicken, y'all. Buck, 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 buck. They told you to buy a chicken. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but you Americans that voted for Trump, you voted for this ridiculousness. You identified with this ridiculous somehow. This should be a warning for your future. Take this into account. When you see people like that you saw talking for Trump, making excuses for Trump, when you see people like Trump talking, Elon Musk talking, and his sycophants making excuses, understand you must run, reject, slam the door in their face. Don't ever support it again because it was a trick. Nah, I don't have chickens in my backyard. What the hell is he talking about? Do you have chickens in your backyard? I thought you depended on someone to grow some chickens so you wouldn't have to, so you could go to work. I mean, what do you want to do? Go to work and come home and feed your chickens? Is everybody going to now breed chickens? You know, what's going on? Yo, you won't be alive. There's so many there's so many Americans that will not make it till September. They will be thrown out of their homes. September. He's asking you to wait through tornado season. He's asking you to wait through hurricane season. He's asking you to wait through the next epidemic, measles epidemic. Actually, there's another type of respiratory epidemic spreading around Earth. He's asking you to wait through all of that. He's saying, wait until a few million of you are on the street and dead. And I ain't talking about a few, like one or two. He's literally asking that now. Wait until September? It's March, dude. What the hell are you talking about? This is how Trump is getting mafia. He's getting Russian money. He's getting people through the crypto because it's unregulated. So they're able to throw in some money to give it to him, and then he takes the money out, and there's no one regulating it. And then his policies will be for him and not for them and not American citizens. That's what he is doing with crypto. It's ridiculous. They want to take American people's dollars. They want to take American people's tax dollars and throw it into crypto schemes, pump and dump. They're going to throw it into crypto, which is unregulated, and then he's going to take the money himself, y'all. I'm serious. Like, I'm sorry. Someone said protest, no violence. You know, why is it that in the United States of America, you have weapons proliferated everywhere, right? And the idea is that I have the right to defend myself. You come on my property, I got the right to shoot you. You come on my property, but you don't have the right to save your country. You don't have the right to stop somebody from stealing your taxpayer dollars. So openly and fragrantly, you don't have that right, but you have the right for just the average Joe walking down the street, a person that makes a mistake and comes onto your property. You have the right to shoot and kill them. Man, I don't get it. I don't get it. They don't have an excuse. They don't know what to say anymore, y'all. Wait a second. Yeah, yeah, they had to do the DEI. They didn't want Q-Tip, as director of the Kennedy Center. No, 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 no. We can't have Q-Tip doing that. It can't be a rapper, even though they're selling more music than anybody, rap music out of the US. I mean, come on. What is this? Can't do that. We need Kid, whatever his name is, Kid Rock up here. They're worried about who's playing in the Kennedy Center while they're screwing over your money, threatening you, raiding the Treasury Department. I mean, y'all, these people are just bigots. And, it is sad to see it, but they reveal it themselves. They reveal their weakness. Bigotry is not what makes nations strong. It's not. Nations that struggle with understanding minority rights or understanding oppression of other groups of people, understanding oppression of women, understanding oppression of ethnic groups. Nations that suffer that don't understand it, people, they tend to not have strong economies. The US had a strong economy because like many other Western democracies, it was moving towards addressing those inequalities. That's what brings everybody together. That's what makes people come to work on time. That's what makes the things stretch a little bit further than they could before. And these people, they can't see that. They think America was birthed by one ethnicity, by one people. No, it was birthed by people fighting over it. They fought. Different groups picked different sides. There wasn't white people on one side. Okay. And these people are trying to make it like it was just all white people. All white people. No, all white people did not fight for freedom. Some did. All white people did not fight to get away from the British. Some did. Okay. And now even the people that helped us form a country, like the French Canadians and descendants, we're at war with them. We're trying to punish them. The Mexicans, we're trying to punish them. It's crazy. They used to be it used to be their territory, half of it, or a huge part of it. And we're forgetting that. It doesn't matter that we fought against the Spanish and these things, and that Mexico was a part of that. Look, but that was in the past. We have more in common with each other than we ever had before. And yet we're still bickering with them about these things. It's all superficial. All they can think about is the Chinese. We're going to tariff the Chinese, the Mexicans. And now it's the French and the French Canadians, they're different from us. Oh, now it's the Europeans. The Europeans are different from us. This has nothing to do with anything that makes any sense whatsoever. But kudos to the Midas Touch again. Let me hear him say that again. I'm sorry. Bill Marcellus is so funny, man, but he's on point. And I remember, Ralph, if you're out there listening, you actually bought some Trump tennis shoes. I remember that. That was during the election cycle before he was elected. You was proud to buy. What else have you bought? That's Trump. Well, I mean, I want to hear from you, brother. If you're out there, Ralph, I want to hear from you. What's going on? Are you still supporting this, bro? Are you still supporting it? And please, because when you show up here, brother, and you tell us that you support Trump, I'm going to dig into the data in your state. We're going to talk about the data in your state right now. We're going to talk about the difference between how things were and how things are today in Virginia. Yo, Ben Marcellus is on fire. The Midas Touch Network is on fire. And I don't want to hear nobody talk about anybody's ethnicity here, religion here, or whatever they perceive it to be. You know, let me just point this out. Jewish people, ethnic Jews in America, I'm not talking about Israelis, okay, because that's another country. I'm talking about ethnic Jewish people, people that have been in the United States for since the beginning of the country. We've had Jewish people. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people realize that. Muslims too. I don't know if a lot of people realize that from the colonial days. Then we had more come, the whole time, and then also after World War II, we also had many come, But listen, for the people that are anti-Semitic out there, right? For any black person, any Muslim person, any minority, any woman in the United States of America right now that is upset at Trump, you need to understand Jewish people, Jewish Americans voted 1% more for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz than black men did. 1% more than black men did in the United States of America. So that 1%, you want to criticize people for their faith? Just remember that. Just remember it. I mean, we got some improvements to be that can happen. You see? Yeah, but let's continue. Let's hear more of the Midas touch here. Yo, the price of beef has doubled. The price of beef, in case you like hamburgers, in case you like a steak, it's doubled. I'm not saying all people do, but it's just to show you it has literally doubled. Do you know what that means to people's dinner table in the USA? I'm not saying you can't change, but damn, you ain't even got eggs. Eggs is doubled and tripled. What are you supposed to do? Soybeans now? I mean, really, we used to sell our soybeans to China. Is that going to happen? You're going to be eating a lot of soybeans, y'all. I'm telling you. He thinks so. Well, I think so. You don't know so, fool? I hate that lady. I'm sorry. She is a complete utter liar. She's pretending like she's pushing back on Trump. She ain't pushing back on Trump. Who are the big globalists? Who are they? Why are they so ambiguous? How are they? Is it Putin? Is it Xi? Is it Donald Trump? Who's the big globalist? Is it Elon Musk? Is he a big globalist? The richest man on earth? Get this, y'all. He's gaslighting you. I'm gonna be out for a second, y'all. I will be back in 1/2 hour, 30 minutes, but I'm gonna let this play out. Big up to the Midas Touch again. Big up to everybody that's out there protesting on the streets. You are making the difference. The people in the streets are making the difference. Also, more people should check out Midas Touch. They have more viewership than legacy media, more viewership than CNN, more viewership than Fox News, more viewership. They have taken over the market for free media, for free press. Okay, and but I'm gonna let this play out. Big up to all the Americans that are on the streets, standing up for yourself and doing anything to stop this regime. This is not a president. Donald Trump did not win the election. Donald Trump stole the election with money and voter suppression. And if you want to have a life, it will only continue once he is gone, y'all. I'm telling you. In a minute for coming out. Yeah, I appreciate everybody. I will be back at you in a moment. 30 minutes. One.
The vibe is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat just